Hello world, what's up? So I'm Brett, and basically I am going to be talking about Psi Phenomenon, and specifically I'm going to be going off of this note card, and we're going to talk about why we should stop being unscientific about Psi. Okay? And basically I'm going to be working from this note card. Can you see it? Let's see. Yeah? Okay, let's see. Yeah? Alright. And so Psi phenomena are all those crazy things that you've heard about, and it's been a big discussion in psychology recently about, and for a long time actually, about whether these things exist, like telekinesis and whether we can see into the future, so whatever. And this paper came out in 2012. I don't want to get too much because we're already a minute into it, but a paper came out in 2011, and it stirred up a whole bunch of buzz. Not 2012, by this psychologist from Cornell named Darrell. And he had these 9 studies, Psi Phenomenon BEM, you'll find the paper for sure in Google. But he had these 9 studies. It generated a lot of talk and recently there's been a meta-analysis, which means just a combination of a whole bunch of studies that they put together to see if the effect is there. And basically they found that the effect was there. It's small, but it's there. And this has really pissed a lot of people off, and it's been criticized heavily. And it's interesting to me because these are the best tools that we have to determine the legitimacy of an effect, and it's saying that Psi exists. And a lot of scientists are saying that it doesn't. Anyways, so again, let's start. So it's just urban legend. That's what a lot of people say. It's a lot of legend. It's the stuff of religion and these sorts of things. But the first thing that I want to say is that it is remarkable how often these things come up in legend. Like early modern period, they believed this. Like not long ago, they believed this before science really came in, and they were killing people over it. The Salem witch trials, and they really believed it. And these are pretty advanced people, and they believed it all the way back and across a whole bunch of different cultures. I don't know, Aboriginals, people who've never come into contact, they believe it, and I don't know. So I think that's an interesting point, because if everybody believes it, anger, the emotions, if things are cross-cultural, then we say that maybe there's something there. And think of all the times that, I don't want to take too much time, but think of all the times that these things are right. Go to bed early, the early bird gets the worm, like all of these, a penny saved, a penny earned. That's not a good one, but they're right a lot of the time. And there are a lot of times that they're not right, but I think that the fact that these things are so strong and so cross-cultural lends some evidence. And second, a lot of people say that there's pseudoscience, but pseudoscience is not a thing, and science is not a thing. It is a method. It is a way of doing things. And Bem did this study in such a way, he thinks, and I think that he knows what he's talking about, and other researchers who have worked also with him think that this is scientific. There are hypotheses. There are experiments. They use statistics, whatever that means. But anyways, so it's not a thing. It's not a specific set of beliefs. That's religion, and thinking that, ignoring data in your face that is saying Psi exists, and it's done by one of the best psychologists in the field, that's unscientific in my opinion. But anyways, and actually, before we go on to be talking about such things, let's consider and let's look in history also again. Galileo, we didn't know how my hand connected with my brain, and it was unclear. And Galileo put forward this idea of animal spirits being in our body and communicating back and forth in tubes that run throughout our body. Now, he was clearly wrong. Okay, he was clearly wrong, but he was right generally. Nerves go throughout our body, and he described it supposedly as, from what I've read, a fire, a very light fire, and like an animal spirit. And I think that's a quote. But those are nerves, and he said it, I think, in the 1500s, and we didn't get the nerves down until 1800s at least, 300 years before Psi. And so if we look at Psi, okay, maybe Bem doesn't have it right, he doesn't know what he's talking about yet, but in the next 300 years, maybe we will, so let's just hold off on the judgment. That's probably the biggest thing. We don't know what we're talking about, I don't think. Darwin, Copernicus, these guys, look at what Bem did, okay? He cultivated a career. He cultivated a reputation of being somebody who sees things before other people, who is a very good researcher, who has great ideas, and he sees things before other people. I said that twice, but he sees things before other people. He started these fields, and he waited until he had that reputation to, he's an emeritus professor. He doesn't really care he cares what you think, but he's not going to get fired if you don't like his ideas, and he waited to that time, and he's going to ruin his entire reputation if he doesn't. Why would he say this if he doesn't believe it, and we know that he's one of the best. He has written very influential pieces of work. I don't know if that means he's the best, but he's written very influential pieces of work, and he started fields. People are following him. A lot of people are following him, and I just don't see a reason for him to fake it. It might be a hoax. Maybe, I don't know. I should say that because it might be a hoax, but and he is not the only one doing this. That is important. People at Princeton, there was a lab looking at anomalous consciousness fields or something like that. I don't know. Back in the 70s, they have since been incorporated somewhere else, but that's at Princeton. There are people at many universities doing this, really. Again, it's a method. They're looking at, one thing I will say, okay, I think we should put these things online, right? So the Bem's experiments can be put online and just give them to the public and then say, okay, public, don't hack it, obviously. Is there any way to hack it? I don't know. But just have it do a random number generator and ask people to predict and see if we get above chance. Boom. It's as simple as that. And I think that would be awesome. And I think that would be really good. And I think that we could do a lot of those experiments like this. So let's talk about doing that, because I would like to be honest. I think that would be good. But 8 minutes is pretty long, so we don't know what we're talking about yet. In 500 years, in 300 years, then we'll know. But be an agnostic. It doesn't make sense to say that Psi doesn't exist, or it doesn't make sense to say Psi absolutely exists in this way that we are talking about right now. I don't think that makes sense. But I had to say that because a lot of people, I was sitting in this, I don't want to go past too long, but I was sitting in this colloquium, and this person asked, who believes in Psi? I was the only person to put my hand up, I was the only person to put my hand up, and people laughed at me, and I was like, what? Come on, what the heck? Have you really thought this through? And so I'm posting this, and I appreciate you listening to me, and I appreciate you thinking about this. I know that maybe it's not what you think, and I know that, but I think it's important, and I would like to, I would watch yours. Okay, make a response. Let's talk it out. And okay, so again, I don't know. I think I'm gonna do a series on this, but I don't want to go too long. So, Bem, Psi, and science. Don't be unscientific. It's a method. It's a method. Follow the method of science. We don't know yet. Okay. Thank you for coming by. Really, I appreciate it. I hope you come by next time. I don't know when the next one will be, but it means a lot to me. And yeah. Goodbye.